Built for More podcast, Denny Thompson, Pastor Joby Martin. Got our first safety, which I know you love.
Let's go.
Mike
Defense.
Brown. You love some defense, don't you? Mike Brown from the Tennessee Titans. What's going on, my man? How you doing?
How you doing? How you guys doing today?
Oh, I don't think we could be any better. Just so you know, just so you can catch up, Joby is a massive football fan, and his son played safety.
That's right.
And so he's fired up about this one, man. He's definitely fired up about this one.
Best position in football. Best position.
No doubt. And his position coach in high school was Donovan Darius, former Jaguar. So he got coached right.
Yeah, we're going to be careful on the Jaguar talk on this one, though.
I don't like the Titans, but I'm glad. But I'm glad for you, Mike. But
Where does the hate come from? Where does the hate come from?
Yeah, that's a good question, Joby. Where does that hate come from, man?
Just from some games not going the way that I wanted them to go as a Jaguars fan. That's all.
Yeah, Mike, I think long before, he probably wasn't even born yet. What year were you born, Mike?
99.
Yeah, so that was the year. And I'm sure he's well aware of it, but the Titans beat the Jags 3 times in 1 year. I think the Jags finished, 14-3?
It was the only 3 losses.
Yeah. So I think ever since then, it's universal that people in Jacksonville, which is where we're based out of, just don't agree with much the Titans do. So that's where the hate comes from right there, Mike.
Was that the year we went to the Super Bowl?
It is. Yeah, it is. It is. I was at that AFC Championship game.
Wow.
Yeah, it was heartbreaking from a Jacksonville perspective, that's for sure. But, Mike, we appreciate you coming on, man, and can't wait to get into this with you here. So, Tennessee Titans, your journey there, I was looking at this earlier, kind of wild, man, kind of wild. Not too highly recruited, am I correct on that, out of high school?
Correct.
And then you ended up at, where, Miami of Ohio?
Yes.
Can you just talk about the journey to there to get started, like from high school to that Miami of Ohio? I think I read that you were kind of played a million different positions in the process of getting on the field. Can you just kind of talk about that for a minute?
Yeah, so very under-recruited in high school. My high school head coach with Chuck Martin, who was the head coach at Miami. They coached together at Grand Valley State University back in the early 2000s when they won all those national championships. So it was a friendship connection there. And my high school coach was kind of just always trying to get to Coach Martin to convince him, like, man, I have a good player here. You guys should give him a chance. So Coach Martin, just his relationship with my coach, Coach Koster, just took a chance on me when nobody else did. So I kind of got offered based on a friendship relationship. So
that was your only offer?
Yep, only offer out of high school was to Miami of Ohio.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's one of the things that is the most amazing to me. The number of highly recruited high school athletes that go to big-time Power 5, especially, major SEC players that cannot make a roster in the NFL.
Yep.
And then the number of guys that you hear that somehow would you say you were a late bloomer or just happened to be overlooked, or did you develop later or grow a foot? What happened?
No, I think I just been on a gradual incline every year of my career. Like, I always was good in sports. I was never like the fastest, the strongest, the most athletic, but I was always good. And always one of the best players on my team, if not the best. But like I said, I wasn't a 5-star. I wasn't like the strongest, fastest, smartest, but I just always told myself every year, if I could find a way to get better, then I'll end up where I'm at today. But definitely wasn't, like I said, the best of everything when I was younger. Just kind of a gradual decline.
Now, when you go back to the high school days during that whole recruiting process, which, we've talked about on this show a lot, it's a wild process. At that time, did you know you could play in college football? Was that something that you just needed a chip in a chair? You just needed a chance? Or was it something you just gradually got better and eventually became good enough to play in college football?
No, I never had a doubt in myself. It was just getting somebody to see me. And my area that I grew up in is not very recruited. Being from Michigan, they recruit the Detroit area very heavy, but they didn't really recruit the Grand Rapids area unless they were coming to get offensive linemen. So they didn't believe that a skill player could be good from where I was from. And I went to a small private school, so that played a key in it as well. But they just didn't believe that it could be a good skill player from my area. So no one really wanted to take a chance on me.
So like literally overlooked.
Yeah.
Yeah. So people are coming in to recruit your area and they're leaving without offering you. That's that's tough, isn't it?
Yeah, I've had, not gonna say the school's names, but I've had multiple schools like come to the school, come into practice, leave early, or straight up tell me like, yeah, you're not big enough to play linebacker, but not fast enough to play safety. I done got told some crazy things, and even my coach sometimes couldn't really explain to me what was going on, but I just was like, just keep working hard. It'll all work out. And I didn't know how, but I just knew it was gonna work out.
Yeah, but there's the underwear Olympic speed, and then there's football speed, you know? And I just know at the high school level, it's almost like the number of quarterbacks that we've talked to. When a safety can process faster than everybody else, somehow he's the fastest guy on the field. Even if his 40 time is not the fastest. He just happens to be where the ball is at the right time every time.
Yeah.
And that's football fast.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, so let me in on Michigan football, just the state of Michigan high school football, because as a safety, and you can tell me if I'm way off base here, but when you're playing high school football up in Michigan, do they throw the ball a lot, or is this basically like you're coming down as run support most of the time?
No, they throw the ball. I mean, I played every position you could think of in high school, like linebacker, safety, DN, corner, running back, receiver, tight end, full. Like I played everything. So I didn't just play safety in high school. It was kind of like I wouldn't even say secondary position. It was just kind of like one of the things that I did. But I always knew I was going to play safety in college. But being from, like I said, the area that I was from, my high school coach, we had a good connection. So he would always tell me, like, if you want to get recruited from Grand Rapids, you can't just play one position. Like, you have to show them that you can do everything. So it gives you a better chance. So I just listened to him and just try to play everything because they'll pick me for one of these positions that I'm good at. That's how I was thinking about it.
But
So,
you played running back too in high school?
I did.
I wonder how many NFL safeties were their high school's running back because they were probably the best athlete like in the county. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
Or even quarterback, but you just ran the ball. You were just for an extra blocker. You know, you just toted it.
You go to a high school game and it's like that outside linebacker, that running back, right? Those are those guys right there, man. Like, I mean, Bobby Bowden made so much money off of taking, linebackers, turn them into safeties, taking defensive linemen, turn them into linebackers, or actually vice versa, taking linebackers, turn them into defensive linemen, just because of the pure athleticism. Did you, when you got to college and you saw that, you had a special skill set, how long was it before you found your way on the field in college and knew that this is something you may be able to make something out of?
Like I said, I didn't know how, but I always knew that I was going to find a way to make it professional. Didn't know how the route was going to be, but I knew. But when I got to college, I think about everybody in our freshman class, but 3 of us redshirted. And I didn't play like defense my freshman year, but I played special teams. That's the way on the field in college, even professional. Play special teams. And then my sophomore year, it took me about 3 games. I think the starting nickel got hurt. And then I got plugged in there at nickel, and then started ever since in the rest of my career. But so it took about to my sophomore year, 3rd game.
I'm reading up on him, and it's actually super interesting. And Cody did some research and talked to somebody that knows him fairly well as well. And when I look at what people have said about Mike, it's actually really cool. It's things like, obviously wasn't highly recruited, DB with linebacker body. But it's things like would just outwork everyone and prove everyone wrong. Very intelligent. Felt like he had to be perfect all the time to make it. Things like that. Talk about that work ethic of being, quote unquote, an underdog, under-recruited. In hindsight, did that push you to be better than what maybe you would have been if you were highly recruited, you think?
Yeah, definitely. And it's just me knowing myself. I knew I wasn't good enough to just not work hard and get by. I knew my way to make it was to outwork everybody. So I really didn't think of a different route to take. You'd be surprised how many people at every level of sports in life don't work hard. So I think if you work hard, you're going to put yourself in a better position. I don't care what you do. And I think it's worked for me. And I'm going to continue to just choose that way, just outworking everybody, because it sounds cliche and simple, but I think if you just have that mindset of outworking anybody and anything that you do, I think it will work for you.
I also see something in here. It's actually, I laughed when I saw it. I'm going to quote this directly. It said, car he drove in college was held together by duct tape. Mike, is that true?
And my baby was holding on by a thread, but that was my baby. 2004 GMC Yukon. That was my baby right there.
Do you still have it?
I don't. I gave it back to my father, who let me use it in college. But car still works today.
That's one of the things I love. Like some of these guys, like Gardner Minshew, still drives this car he drove in high school.
Really?
It's like it's like an Acura, like a smaller Acura car.
That sounds like a Minshew thing.
Yeah, I love when you go to these like training camps and things like that, and you see all these cars pull into the lot, and then you see that, you see the rookies and some of the older guys that still rocking the Corollas, things like that. Y'all got some of those cats on the Titans, man, that just refuse to let it go?
Yeah, one of my closest friends, and I ask him every day when he gonna get a different car. He tells me not yet, but it's just jokes though. I mean, when you can, but just being smart with your money, I don't see no problem with that. But it's
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, it's kind of like Bull Durham remember the rookie pitcher has fungus on his shower shoes. He's like, man, you got to be an All-American to do that. That's what it is in the NFL. When you got like a beat up 1996 F-150.
Yeah.
Because you can. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, and you have a payment on it.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at your story, and I want to go back to Mineville, Ohio in just a second, but this guy was undrafted in 2022, and I'm counting, let's see, Minnesota Vikings, got waived on the final roster cut, then went to this is all in 2022, went to the Green Bay Packers, was there from September 14th to September 22nd, back to the Vikings from 10-5 from October 5th to 2 weeks later. Then the Browns, he had to try out for him, got signed to the practice squad, then actually made active roster in week 11, 13, and 14. The Titans signed him back at the end of the season, and he's still there. So can you just talk about that journey into the NFL and just that time of your life where, really you're on, 5 different teams in the matter of 2 months?
Man, it's crazy looking back. Like, that was probably like one of the worst mental states I've been in. And I was wondering why, like, I was going through it. But, like, looking back, I'm actually glad that it happened, because it gave me the aspect of knowing how the business of the NFL worked. And I have a different view of the game, and I appreciate it way more going through what I went through. I have some close friends who never been cut, never been on a different team. So I've seen different facilities, been around so many great players, and everywhere I went, I've learned from everybody, and, I met great people. But it was definitely a rough time. But, like, now that I look back, I'm actually happy it happened. Because I have a story, and everybody has a story. So I think it, it made me who I am today.
And you talked about special teams, being the way. And we talk a lot about, you just got to do what you got to do. You got to serve, and you got to give everything you got, and you just keep going, and it works out. Talk about the life in the NFL of a special teams player, of realizing that right now, in order to make a team and to put food on my table, I'm going to have to run down. And they didn't do kickoffs like they do now back then. I mean, it was just a couple years ago. But just talk about that lifestyle of every week I got to give everything I've got for maybe 10, 11 plays?
Yeah, it's definitely different. And when I first got to Tennessee, my safety coach I had here, like, he definitely kept it real with me, because when I got here, nobody knew me, but he knew that I was good enough to be here. So he told me, he's like, look, Mike, he said, if you're trying to get that 3rd, 4th safety spot on the team, you have to play special teams, or else we can't keep you. Because if you're not a starter, you have to be able to serve as a team. And, like, I always knew that I had to play special teams, but he just kept it in reality. Like, he kept it in my mind every day. Like, if you want to be here, special teams has to be a priority. And that's probably going to, like, being undrafted is just realistic of that's going to be my way on the team every year. And I kind of know that. So it has to be a priority in your mind. Is I have to be a dog on special teams in order to get a chance to play defense. And I think that's how it is for, I would say, 95% of players in the NFL, especially the ones who go undrafted.
I think there's a lot of guys that aren't a part of what they wanted to be a part of because they didn't get to play the part they wanted to play. And, but when you have the kind of attitude that you're more excited about what you're a part of than the part that you play, when that's more important, then you're the kind of player that coaches want, that leaders want, that CEOs want. Because when you all have that common goal that you're going for, and you're the kind of player or teammate or employee that says, hey man, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to move the ball down the field to achieve what our goals are, then that's what you got to have.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Take us back through that though, because by the time you got out of college, like you're playing safety, you're a very good player, you're on the field, you're used to being on the field all the time, and now all of a sudden you're the new guy in an NFL locker room, right? Like you're undrafted. Being an NFL city here, we always hear about the undrafted guys. They're like, oh man, this guy, they found one. And then he's cut 2 weeks later. And you're like, wait, what happened?
Yeah.
Right. Just the mental aspect of that, of going from a key piece to really just trying to find your place in a whole new environment that just happens to be, what you've always dreamt of doing.
No, for sure. And I'd always joke with my friends when I was in Minnesota for that time when I was there in camp. I was so quiet and like nobody even knew I was a rookie. Like nobody even knew I was there. Like I didn't get no rookie hazing or nothing like that because nobody noticed me. So like my friends always ask me like, what did you do for your rookie song? I'm like, man, I didn't have a rookie song. Just walking around the building and I mean, obviously they probably know who you are, but like I was always nervous to even walk around somebody who's from the front office or didn't know if the coaches knew my name. It was just it's like a different way of viewing things when you that first time walking in the building being undrafted because you don't know what's going on, you don't know what to expect, you don't know who knows you don't know who to speak to, who not to speak to. So yeah, it's just different looking back 3 years ago versus looking when I walk around the building today.
So I think people can identify with that though, like on any level, because everybody starts a new job.
Yeah.
Right. Everybody starts a new school. Everybody joins a new team, and there's that awkward feeling of, I don't know where I belong yet. I don't know who I'm supposed to be. I don't know what they're looking for. I don't know what they expect of me. I just don't know where to go, right? As somebody who's gone through that at the highest of levels, what would be your advice to somebody that's going through that now, whether they're getting ready to start a new school, a new job, something that they know they can do, they're confident in, but they just don't really know their spot yet. Looking back, where did you maybe miss the mark and where did you get some things right?
I would just say, first of all, stay who you are. Like you got there from being who you are and don't be afraid to ask others for assistance. And I definitely did that. I asked veterans. The many locations I've been, I will always find a guy who's like been there in a similar way as me and ask them how they did it. You know what I'm saying? What trials and tribulations they went through. Because everybody's story is different, but you can take things from everybody and apply them to your life. So I try to do that. It was always somebody that I spoke to at every location and just ask them like, how is this for you? Like this how's been going for me. How'd you overcome this? Like different stuff like that. And I just took those little key nuggets from every player that I bumped into and try to apply it to my life and make my own routine and the way I go about myself in the building.
Who were some of those guys, if you don't mind saying?
Like Josh Metellus was good when I was at Minnesota. I would say when I was in Cleveland, I spoke a lot to. He was in my class, but he was undrafted. D'Anthony Bell helped me out a lot about how he made it on special teams in the NFL. And then when I got to Tennessee, it was players in my position room. Even though he wasn't undrafted, like I looked at guys like Kevin Byard or Amani Hooker, how they went about just being consistent at making plays at the safety position, which is very hard to do. And I just took key nuggets from everybody and just applied it to my life.
How hard is that? How hard when you get into the NFL and you're playing, safety, which as Joby pointed out is very much like the quarterback of the defense. You see everything, right? How hard is it to find that voice and speak at a level of certainty where guys will respond to you? Because you're making a ton of calls back there, right? Like, how long did that take for you to feel comfortable in that role? And what was the preparation that you had to put to be ready for that opportunity when it came?
I mean, playing safety, you have to be able to speak loud. Like, it's just a part of the position. And in college, the college I went to, our safety was of control of the whole defense. So every call and check that was made came from the safeties. And it's the same here in Tennessee. But the challenge that I kind of found myself in was I kind of was hesitant a little bit because of the journey that I had in the NFL. I didn't think that I was in a position to be able to speak to others in a certain way to demand and to do things. And the coach that I have this year kind of told me, like, you deserve and you work for the opportunity to be able to tell people what's right and what's wrong and be able to correct people on the field, because I've had my own journey. So like I'm in a position now where I can tell somebody, okay, get this check or don't do this check. And in the past, I knew what I was doing, but I was just a little hesitant because I didn't think I was in a position to tell somebody else, because in the back of my head, it's like, man, I've been on 4 different teams. I can't tell this guy what to do. But it's the NFL, man. We all have a journey. So the guys I have respect me, and they know that I know the playbook. So I can communicate with them and they can give me the thumbs up.
We've both been lucky. We've both been to NFL practices, right? When there's not a bunch of people there and it's quiet. And I think people would be surprised by the amount of communication at all times that it takes on defense. Mike, can you kind of talk through that a little bit? Because I've always found it interesting. I work with quarterbacks for a living, and I've always found it interesting that the slightest little shift or the slightest little motion or maybe just a personnel change sets off an entire chain of communication on a defense, so that everybody can get on the same page. Can you talk about how critical that is and what goes into that?
Yeah, because especially offenses today, they shift motion, they do everything and try to mess up your eye. So when I'm out on the field and I see a formation, I'm automatically thinking, what if this person moves? What if this person jets? Like, what is he going to do post-snap, pre-snap? And you have to be able to have your words already ready to be spoken if he does this. And he might not do it, but you have to be able to tell your teammate, because not only does my responsibility change, but his might change too if this one person moves. So you kind of got to be ahead of the call. And it might not happen, and it might. So it's tricky. It gets tricky out there, definitely, because you got to see everything before it happens.
My favorite thing about NFL practice is the energy around defense. We were at the Jags practice last week, and, Trevor throws the ball, offense drives down, they score. Everybody's like, good job, everybody. And then they go to defensive practice, and Travis Hunter tips a ball to himself. You'd have thought we won the Super Bowl, bro. Like, every defensive player runs them. It's just different.
Yeah.
At the high school level, at the college level, defense is just a dog, bro. It's just different, And I love it. I love that energy, that like we're in this thing together.
It's so great. Have you always known you were going to end up on you mentioned you played everything. Have you always known you were going to end up on that side? And if so, was it what Joby's saying? Is it just the attitude of defense and what you're able to bring to the table on that side of the ball?
Yeah, I always knew, like you said, I played everything in high school, but I just knew I was going to play safety. I knew my size. I knew kind of like where I was going to be at when I was old, like when I got older and filled in my body. And I feel like, I could be wrong, y'all could correct me, but I feel like on defense, you can go make a play versus on offense, you're kind of dependent on a lot of other factors. So I wanted to be at a position to where I can make something happen versus waiting on somebody else to determine if I can make something happen.
This is so great because it's like listening to this. We're talking about communication. We're talking about making plays, right? And Mike, we love to just kind of tie everything into what life and faith is and all that kind of stuff. And the lack of communication in organizations or in marriages or in relationships with your kids or anything like that is so critical, just like it is in football, right? I mean, it's not okay to not communicate and have expectations of others to just read your mind, right? And in football, that shows itself right away. Like you get gashed and everybody's like, what, you didn't think to cover that guy? Yeah, but there was a lack of communication somewhere, Joby, and that's so real life, man. And I love going to practices. That's my favorite part of going to. I'm at a different practice almost every day. Mm-hmm. And one of my favorite things, and you can identify teams that are going to be good defensively by that, by how loud is it when somebody goes in motion. Yep. Like how much communication is there, and is everybody moving in unison? Has that communication been there? And more importantly, the person that's giving that communication, are they prepared? Right? Are they ready to give that communication? And is there trust from the other 10 that what they're seeing is correct?
Well, I probably need to flesh this out some more, but, being the pastor of this church for 13 years, I think leadership is clarity. Whoever brings the most clarity in the times of confusion, that's the leader. Now, what people want is certainty, but you don't have certainty. So let's say you're the safety. Right? Man goes in motion. you're not certain if they're running the fly or if they're going to hand the ball off. You're not certain of what the play is going to be. But whoever brings clarity to get you in the right spot, people are going to look to you as the leader.
Mm-hmm.
And that's true if you're managing an Applebee's or if you're quarterbacking an NFL team or whatever it is. And when you can think about that, the more clarity I can bring to a situation, the better leader I'm being for the people around me. And when you're right, people are going to look to you more and more and more and more.
Yeah, there's that consistency part of it too. I think about it in the essence of like a marriage when we talk about, men providing security for their wives. Well, security doesn't just mean that I'm a big tough guy or that I'm bringing home a bunch of money.
Right.
Security means that like I'm there when I'm supposed to be and I'm clear in my objective with my wife and that she knows what she's getting and she can trust that I'm prepared for anything. So I love talking about this stuff, Mike. It's would you say on the list of skill sets that communication and the ability to verbalize and communicate clearly with everybody, is that as important as is that the reason why some of these freak athletes don't make it?
Yeah, I don't care how good you is. If you can't speak, you can't communicate on the football field at the safety position. I know it specifically in our defense, you can't play because too much is relied upon the safeties communicating for us to function. So I think that's the first thing. You got to be able to communicate. And our coach always uses the word obnoxious communication. He wants you to be loud and demonstrative when you communicate. Because if no one can hear you and they don't believe you right, then no one's going to listen to you. So I definitely feel like communication is probably, if not number one, it's up there for be able to play safety.
Yeah, because defensive backs don't move on an island, man.
Right.
You just don't get to run your own stunt. You just can't be in your own coverage. That's called a touchdown.
Right.
Yeah. So everything you do affects everybody else, and especially as the safety, you got to make sure everybody else is in the right spot.
And what's crazy, to put it in perspective of how hard this sport is we've just talked for 10 minutes about communication, and the ball hasn't even been snapped yet.
Correct.
Right? Like you haven't even had to execute yet. It's just getting yourself and your people in the right position to succeed. Right? Because, in high school football, it's funny because the teams that can just simply line up do well.
Correct.
Right? The teams that can't line up don't do well. And just that ability to say, I'm prepared, and so I'm going to lead this defense in lining up properly, and it's going to give us a chance to stop whatever attack is coming at us. I think that level of preparation, it makes that level of preparation almost like mandatory. Not almost. It is mandatory to have a job, to have success. And if you don't do that, it's going to be exposed very, very quickly.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
Yeah, I love that part about defense. Mike, can you just kind of talk about, you're playing against the best of the best every week. You're considered one of the best of the best. You're playing something that very few people get to play. What is it that the average person misses about defensive football in the NFL? They think about the hits. They think about the interceptions, the pass breakups, all that kind of stuff. What is it that we're not seeing on TV that you have to focus on from day to day?
I think it's a certain mindset and swagger that you got to carry to play defense. Like, we're all great athletes, but you can just tell the difference in the walk when you see somebody who plays defense versus somebody who plays offense. Like, they walk with a certain swagger. You got to kind of walk with an edge, especially like the NFL today is an offensive game. Everything is to make the offense score a touchdown, and our job is to not let them score. So I feel like you just got to walk with a little edge to play defense, and you got to have an unwaveringly, like, your swag and confidence just can't go away. Like, you might just get scored on, but you can't let that affect. Like, the amount of confidence it takes to play defensive back in the NFL is crazy. I don't think you can play it without confidence. Like, everybody on the field, if you're a defensive back, I feel like you have to believe in your head and your heart that you are the best player out there. Because if you don't, you have no chance because you're already at a disadvantage because we're going backwards and they're going forward. So I think you just got to have that confidence and swagger and edge and chip on your shoulder to play defense.
And these guys aren't out there going like, we're going to play just a base cover 3 zone.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, they are matching routes. There's, all these different checks and all that kind of stuff, man. It is truly fascinating.
Yeah. The amount of post snap reads that an NFL defensive back is making, and all 4 or 5 of them plus linebackers have to be in sync or it's
touchdown.
Bro, it's incredible.
It really is.
Part of the reason we talked about this before, Mike, but so we had 3 former NFL players coach my son's high school team, and I was a coach. I didn't really do anything. I just kind of stood out there. But Donovan Darius, Reggie Hayward, Roy Miller, so our defensive scheme for high school was at a different level schematically. We did not just line up and run base 3-4.
Right.
And Donovan had our defensive backs reading routes, funneling people. So we led the conference in interceptions.
Right.
And he could tell you, he would just say, trust me, push that guy there, take 3 steps right. The quarterback's going to throw you the ball, and the receiver behind you is going to cuss. I'm just telling you. So I can't even imagine. And so it was hard for me to keep up just in high school,
Yep.
And this was like day 1 of NFL rookie training camp kind of stuff that we ran.
Yep.
I can't even imagine the complexity that you guys have to go through.
You'd be surprised. It probably changes a little bit, but football doesn't change. Like, offenses is all about spacing, timing, and trust. So, like you said, the concepts stay the same. It might change a little bit because of the hashes, but most of these offenses are running the same plays, just different guys running it in a different quarterback. But it doesn't really change because it's only so many route combinations you can run. Like, the game of football is not going to change that much. So, definitely it's a little bit more complex. But
I'm an offensive guy, but I'm going to tell you my biggest complaint, and I'm going to see if Mike agrees with me on this.
Okay.
It was unfair when the RPO game came about. and I don't even mean like it's a good play. It's for years and years and years we taught defensive guys like high hat, low hat, all that kind of stuff, how to read, run, and pass. And all of that was just like thrown out of the window all of a sudden about 7 or 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Talk about that adjustment and just how the whole game changed with one offensive scheme. And that really did. It truly changed the game of football. We went from zone read, right, which was technically a running play, to RPOs, where it is a run pass option, and all the rules went out the window, didn't it?
Yeah, it was extremely big when I was in college. Like, I feel like every week it was RPO. It's not as big in the NFL. You have some instances where certain teams with certain quarterbacks, they have RPO options, but it's not like an every down versus in college. When I was in college, I feel like every play was RPO. So with the way we played cover 3, we had to match the routes, because if you didn't, it's going to be wide open, because the linebackers have to abide by their keys, which is telling them to run. So there's going to be a big void in the middle of the field. It happens sometimes in the NFL, but you can kind of know when it's coming depending on where the back is and the formation and stuff like that. But every play in college versus now, just knowing when it can and can't happen. So it's definitely different. But
and bro, there was a time where NFL linemen, college linemen, high school, whatever level, they would be 6 yards downfield, and that quarterback would pull it and throw it, and you're like, wait, that can't happen. Right. And now they're finally starting to call that a little bit, but not the best time to be a defensive player, or maybe the best time to be a smart and prepared defensive player. Which way would you carve that up?
Oh yeah, definitely. I feel like at my position, I think it's more mental than physical. Like, the safeties that my coach has me watch, they kind of work with their eyes rather than their feet. Like, my coach always tells me, like, if I'm moving too much, he was like, your catapult numbers are getting too high. Like, save your body. When you play safety, you got the ability to see everything. So he was like, use your advantage, which is your eyes. You ain't got to move so much. And I think the great safeties, if you ever watch a safety's highlights, that's a great safety, you'll be like, man, it looked like he's not even trying, or he didn't even move that much. That's because all the work's going up here. It's not with the feet. So that's kind of the next step I'm trying to take, is making the game easier with my body and using my eyes to let that work for me.
Who's a safety that you've kind of modeled your game after, either current or past, or who do you watch a lot of film of?
It's crazy. When I was in college, I watched Jamal Adams every day. Like, that was my guy. I got the chance to play with him. He was here last year, so it was crazy to me just to be able to be in the same film room as a guy that I literally watch his highlights every day. But as I got to the league, like, I didn't really play the same position because he was kind of in the box more, and the way we play safety was kind of too high. And kind of just the guys that my position coach has coached, watching them, like guys like Kevin Byard or Justin from Atlanta, or even the safety we got, Amani Hooker now, who had 5 picks last year. And he's not the most athletic guy, but he's just a ball player. He knows where the ball is going to be. He uses his eyes. He knows where to put his body and stuff like that. So just learning the tricks and trades of being able to play safety, because I'm not the fastest, strong, and the most athletic, but you don't have to be to make plays in the National Football League.
Remember a couple weeks ago we had a quarterback on and we were talking about during COVID how we watched a ton of film.
Yeah.
And there was a certain safety that would line up on the line of scrimmage, and the next thing you know, he's in quarters coverage. That's Jamal Adams.
Yeah.
Like the things that guy did pre-snap, post-snap were unbelievable.
And he just seemed to be in the right place every time.
Every time.
Like some people just have a nose for it. Like, I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, yeah. Have you always had that? Have you always been the guy that just for whatever reason was always around the ball?
Yeah, it was easier in college, and versus like when I got to the league, it's a little different. It's still football, but it's a little different. And I really didn't start getting coached. And I would say this like because I was on practice squad and not really playing. And last year was the first year that I felt like I really got coached to know how to play defensive back in the National Football League. So I don't have no interceptions yet. I know they're going to come. Like that's going to come with just learning the game. But for the first time I feel in my career, like my defensive coordinator and my position coach, like they're coaching me to be able to play football at this level and not just going out there and like, okay, I have man-to-man. Let me just cover this guy. Now my coach is telling me like, this is what he's going to do because this is the only 3 things he can do. So he has to pick one of these things and just trusting myself and believing what I see.
Well, I hope you get a bunch, but I hope your first one's not in Duval.
I'll be pulling for him.
Of course.
I'll definitely be.
Of course.
Now, one of the things, tell me a little bit about the upbringing, because one of the notes that I have here is about your relationship with your mom and how everything you do is with her in mind. Just talk about your upbringing and the relationship family-wise that you have with your mom.
Yeah, I grew up single-parent household. It was always my mother, my older brother, and I. That's the reason why I wore number 3 my whole career. My hope is to get it back in the NFL, but I got to earn it. You know, they don't just give out single digits to anybody. But my mom was one of those people that it's like no matter what she was going through, she never let me and my brother see that it was weighing on her. And I don't know how she did it. And still to this day, I always said, like, I will forever be in debt because of the things that she did and sacrificed for me and my brother. Like, we didn't have it all by any means. Was poor, but as a child, you know, you never even realize it until you get older because she never let us see it. Like, we always had food and we always had clothes on our back. And like I said, I didn't really know the position that we were in until I got older. I'll never forget. It's a funny story. I was in a class, a financial class in high school, and they were talking about the poverty line in the U.S. At the time, it was like if you make under $30,000, you're considered to be in poverty. So I remember I went home and I asked my mom, like, Mom, how much money you make? And she was like, about $1,000 a month. So I'm like, that's $12,000 a year. That's way below the poverty line. So I'm trying to figure out how she feeding 2 men, taking care of herself and taking care of a household with just $12,000. And I still don't know how she did it, but she did it. And just to be able to do that as an adult and not let your children see like the stress and what it takes to do that. Like, I don't know. She's an amazing woman. She's just, like I said, I'll forever be in debt. And everything I do will be for her. I can't tell my mom no. She doesn't ask for much, but if she asks me for anything, there's just no way I can say no because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for her.
I go back to the Anthony Richardson episode that we did, and I've known Anthony since, you know, he was 14 years old. I've known the mom, I've known the family, all that kind of stuff. And, you know, I was very fortunate, grew up mom, dad, great parents, the whole thing. But there is a level of conviction, a level of motivation in guys that realize what their mom is doing for them, absent of a father, that, you know, we talked about several times, you know, you play this game and on the other side of that game in high school, maybe somebody who feels like the only way I can get my family out of this situation is through this game. Yep. Right. In hindsight, how much of a driving force and how much of your success do you owe to that part? I know beyond your mom just loving and caring for you and make her proud, but just looking at the situation and going, I've got an avenue that if I put everything I've got into this, I can actually change a generation or two. How much of that was a driving force towards you to put you in the position you're in?
Man, I would say if not all, most of it, like the game of football can really change your life if you wanted to. And I knew that I was in a position to where it can, like, and I wanted to be able to do that for my family. And that was definitely my motivation. And it still motivates me because I feel like I've came so far, but I got so far to go and so much more to grow as a man and so much more of a football player that I can be better. So it's just like, for me, it's like, that's the driving force of being able to change the trajectory of my family, being able to take them places they've never been and do stuff that we've never done. I'm a family oriented person. Like, I love my family. And for me, that's the biggest motivation, is being able to change my family life. Like, for sure, the first millionaire in the family, and to be able to say that, it's like, it's crazy, but definitely the biggest motivation.
Yeah, and you can change the trajectory of your family for generations and generations just by being a great dad and a great husband and raising your kids and being present and, you know, all of those things. And even the things that you're doing right now on the field are going to be sowing into future generations of your family. Those things are not disconnected. They're the same thing.
I agree.
Yeah, man. And so I encourage,
Yeah.
I love to hear it. I love to hear it. And I just encourage you like crazy. Like, I mean, God bless your mom. Wow, God bless your mom. But your kids and grandkids and their grandkids could have a different story because of the patriarch of their family, which is going to be you. Like, you are going to be the one that changes the direction of your family tree, which is so encouraging, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy to think like that. I've always had this, me being the youngest, in my head, but kind of what you said, I think sports in general, like, you can apply that to your life. Like, the stuff that you learn from football, I feel like if you don't apply it to your life, you're not living life the right way, because you can learn so much. And the way you talk to people, interact with people, the hard work and dedication it takes, the sacrifice, to being able to get up early when nobody wants to, like, you can do that in any aspect of your life.
Yeah, there's nothing like it. Like, I mean, you know, I played football, wrestled, and played baseball. Football is a unique bird, dude. There's nothing like getting knocked down in football and having 10 other guys counting on you to get up and get back after it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it translates like nothing else. Like, learn to be
prepares
on a
you.
team, learning to live under authority. What do you do if they don't call the play you want to play? What about when it doesn't go your way? How do you handle success? I mean, there's so many life applications about football.
No doubt. And even to the part where it's hard to recreate just the physical pain that you have to work through and the mental pain that you have to work through to get through one day. And, you know, I work in the football industry, and I hear people all the time talk about, well, you know, it's just a game. It's just a game. I no, it's not, man. No, it's not, because it is a game in between that field on the scoreboard. But the other 6 days, it is truly a way of life that I firmly believe that if people took the energy that the best football players take,
right,
and they put that into their everyday life application, it would be the quickest way to change your life. Because we talk about this all the time. You don't have the option of saying, no, I'm not going to hit you.
right,
Because that guy's coming at you. Right. You don't have the option of saying, no, you know what? I've had enough. I'm going to go rest right now. You got 48 minutes left in the game.
right.
Like, and that's what life is, Mike. And just to hear the way that you're applying that into your family is pretty cool.
And there's a lot of people out there, Mike, that have the same raw physical abilities that you do. They were your height, they were your weight, they had your 40 time, they had your vertical leap. They could, you know what I mean? Like, when y'all were in high school, y'all were the same, right?
Yep.
And then you decided to buckle down and do something with it, and they decided not to. And that's why you're in and they're out. So it's not just, because I think that's part of the myth too. A bunch of fat old lazy people sit on the couch and be like, well, you know, look at that guy. If I could run like him, I'd do it too.
He's
no,
so
you
lucky.
wouldn't.
He's so lucky, yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It takes decades of hard work to be that lucky.
Yeah. How many guys growing up did you see that you thought, oh man, like physically, athletically, they are just super blessed. They're gonna play years and years and years and make a ton of money, and then they ended up doing nothing?
Man, too many to count. But I have friends that I played with back in the day. I bump into and they'll ask me like how is it like the athletic ability? I mean, you'd be surprised. Like, it's not you have those freak of natures, but for the most part, like everybody's in the same realm. It always, I feel like half of the battle of getting to the National Football League or any professional sport, if you just stay out of trouble, like I feel like you give yourself a good chance. And I feel like that was one of my things is like, okay, if all else fails, Mike, just don't get in trouble. Because some people are just going to knock themselves out of the competition because they're going to get in trouble, do something they're not supposed to do, and that's going to give me a better opportunity. So
if you could go tell that to my Georgia Bulldogs, I'd really appreciate that. I'll buy your plane ticket to go tell them, quit racing your cars, man. Good gosh.
You got to stay out of trouble.
But I also think, though, that a lot of that comes with that your why was different, right? Your why was, I want to help Mom. I want to change the trajectory. And the way that I can do that is through this game. And if I get in trouble, if I do something stupid, I'm eliminating that possibility altogether. I don't think a lot of people have that why, right? Their why is like, I just want to score touchdowns and I just want to be praised and I just want to be, I don't know, on Sports Center, right? Can you talk about developing? We talk all the time about identity and identity in Christ and how it has to be that way. But even beyond that, can you just talk about the motivation of having that why of changing the trajectory of a family and that keeping you out of trouble and keeping you, on a path that many people have ruined before they even got to it?
Yeah, I think you have to have something that keeps you grounded. And it might be different for other people, but because your feelings are going to change, your mood's going to change, like the people you're around are going to change. You might work with different people, but you got to have that foundation of why you're doing it. And it really comes in fruition when you're not feeling like doing it. Like everybody has those days where you wake up and you're like, man, I don't feel like doing this today. Like it just happens. Like we're human beings. But I feel like if you just are able to think about why you're doing it, like then you won't let yourself down and you won't let your why down. Everybody's why is different. Some people why might be the money. Some people why might be their wife, their kids, their mother, their father, their uncle, grandparents. But I think just being able to reflect on that why can really keep you grounded and know like, okay, I'm doing this for a reason. And if I don't, I'm letting that reason down. But I think everybody's reason is different.
I think it's listening to him say that, Joby. I think about like my Christian walk with this is I'm at a point where I have to wake up each day and I have to make a decision on how I'm going to live that day. Right. And 10 out of 10 times, man, if I wake up that day and I set myself on the right path and I wake up and I spend time in the Word and I wake up and I pray and all that kind of stuff, then we talk about fitness, get it out of the way early, right? All that kind of stuff, and it sets your day. That's me with my relationship with God. Is if I wake up in the morning and I fix my eyes and I fix my mind to that, it's just amazing how my day comes together, right? That has become like a necessity for me. God has given me and so much that I can't do without him. And I'm thankful for that. And I don't want to lose that. And I realize that. And so I have to give it all to him early in the day or my day is an absolute disaster.
Well, I think that's why we see so many men of faith make it in the NFL because their why is greater than the temporary drivers. Their why is greater than temporary success. It's greater than the applause of man. It's greater than the paycheck. That they are just trying to let everything they do work as unto the Lord, and it plays out on the field. I mean, the thing I think about, Hebrews says, as the pastor of this church, one day I will stand before the Lord and give an account. And I just want to be able to stand in front of him. And of course I stumble. Of course I struggle. Of course I make mistakes. But by and large, I don't want to be gripped by fear. I don't want to be too cautious. I don't want to be too comfortable. I just want to do whatever it is he told me to do. And I'll leave the fruitfulness of it up to him. But I'm responsible to being faithful to what he's called me to do.
Yeah. And can you talk about just the role that faith plays in your life and what that means to you in the NFL?
Yeah. So I'm actually currently in a position, I would say, in a transition period. I don't have a specific religion, but I'm not a person who I'm not denying it. Like I go spurts where I used to wake up every day. I used to read the Bible. I have a Bible, carry one in my bag, have one on my counter in my house as we speak. But I haven't really, I would say, I haven't really found it all the way yet. And I'm open to telling everybody that because I'm not ashamed of it, but I'm not against it as well. So I'll read it here and there. And to me, I would say, and you guys, I know that you guys probably read often, like you said, every day. But to me, it's amazing how, and sometimes it makes me question it because the Bible, like it applies to your life so much. And it's like, man, how was something written so long ago? How can it be applying to something that's happening today? So like, and I find myself thinking like, man, there's no way, it's too good to be true. Like this is applying to exactly what's happening right now. So I find myself in that mindset more when I do read it, because I'm an old school, like I'm pull out the hard copy book and I'm gonna read it word for word. Like that's just how I am. I don't listen to audios or translations. I want to see exactly what it says and I want to read it. And I do that, a couple of times a week and just see like what resonates with me. And I always find it's like, oh, it's something like that makes perfect sense. I don't know how, but that's applied to my life right now.
My man, you and I would get along well. I'm doing this podcast with my preacher because I need that accountability. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Like I just like you, man, I have owned a Bible my entire life. My grandfather was a preacher. My father-in-law was a preacher. But up until recently, it was just a book that I owned. And I had to do, I didn't have to, but I wanted to do this as an accountability and to learn more about what that Bible says and how it applies to life. And I think that's what I'm saying, Joby and Mike, is the deeper and deeper and deeper I get into this, I realize that it is literally everything in my life. And my life goes the way that I go in my relationship with Christ.
Yeah, Mike, I would say, first of all, bro, the Lord made you, He loves you, He's got a plan for you. And the reason it almost seems like when you read this Bible, it's too good to be true, and it's like it's almost magic, is because it's supernatural. It really is. I would highly encourage you, just like when you got in the league, you picked a safety to spend some time with and be like, all right, how can I be a safety in the league? I'd highly encourage you to look around the Titans locker room and find a guy with a worn-out Bible and a wife with a smile on her face and get around that guy and say, hey, man, I got some questions about this. I would love for you to answer some of those questions. And I'm telling you, those guys would be happy to do that.
For sure. I'll make sure I do that.
Because you're on the right path, man. I'm telling you, you got your priorities right. You sound like you were raised by an incredible woman. God's blessing you like crazy. And when you put it all together this way, then it's just different, man. It's just different.
Yeah, you know, one of the things that you say, and Mike, we had, Brock Purdy was one of our first guests on this podcast, and we both have a relationship with Brock, and Joby told him something that has stuck with me about just the NFL and relationship with God, and that is that, you give everything. Well, you say it better than I. I'm going to let you say it. I'm going to let you say what you told Brock about just what you do in the NFL as a Christian man.
Yeah, man, that you've been given an opportunity that so many people dreamed of. And the best thing you can do to honor the giver of the gift is enjoy the gift and go for it. I mean, be the best safety you can be. Be the best teammate you can be. Go for it with everything you're made of as long as you can, so that one day you can look your maker in the eye and say, I gave it all that I had. And then maybe you'll hear from here, well done, good and faithful servant.
Yeah.
Sure. I appreciate that from both of you guys. I definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So back to the football thing for just a minute. What are your, like, moving forward? Now you are established in the NFL, right? Not counting your money, but I did look. You're doing okay, right? What's the next thing for you? Like what's that next big mountain to climb and hill and goal that you have?
Obviously, I always say like my personal goals don't really mean anything, and I say that jokingly, but I don't think they are. Obviously, I have personal goals, but if I had to say, I want to be a guy. I don't want to be that bubble guy anymore. Is he gonna make the roster? And I want to get a long-term deal. So that's my biggest goal. Obviously, there's many steps that go along with that. But I would say if I had to pick out two, is get that bubble guy off my back, because I'm better than that. And I want to have a long-term deal to really secure the future of my family.
So when you say that inside of an NFL facility as a safety, Can you dig into a little bit more of like what that means? Like when you know that you need to be a little more secure, get a long-term deal, all that kind of stuff. I think, that doesn't just mean, playing football or making calls or anything like that. Talk about your role in the locker room around the other guys, like your leadership position in that facility and what that can do towards you accomplishing those goals.
Yeah, like going into year 4 is crazy. Like I see those guys who are rookies or going into their second year and they asking me questions. I'm like, man, I remember asking these same questions. And I'm like I said, in this word I'm using, like I'm in a transition period as far as football as well. Just like now I'm looking at myself as a leader because I've been through what other players are currently going through. Like I know how it feels to be undrafted and trying to find your way and trying to give them keys and stuff to like what they can do to stick out and, stuff like that. So I think that's been helping me as well.
That's got to be a weird thing too, though. Yeah. Because now you're a safety, you're established, and here comes this new crop of drafted guys and undrafted free agents every year. And at the end of the day, you want to win football games and you want to make your team better. But at the same time, man, they're coming for your job. That has got to be a little bit different thing than what I think. Anybody that's been asked to train what could be their replacement, there's probably a little bit of like, I'm not going to tell them everything. Talk about mentally how you kind of deal with that and how you ultimately end up being what other guys need as well.
Man, see, I think thinking like that is what can put you at a disadvantage. Like, I feel like I'm never going to, like, if somebody asks me for advice, I'm going to give them the same advice that I would want. And I think it's like an unsaid rule in the NFL. Like, you can't not tell somebody like what's exactly going on because you want to be in a better position, because in reality it's going to make you a better player. Like if I give somebody the right check and correction and he does a little better than me, the next rep, I'm going to want to do it a little bit more. And I think that's ultimately going to make you a better player rather than you shortchanging somebody that's your brother on your team because you want to make it. Like I never thought like that. I'm going to give you everything I know and I hope you do the same and let the best man win. Like I've competed with some of my best friends. Like some of my best friends to this day, we had to compete against each other. And it's just like an understood thing. We laugh about it, we joke about it, but we know like when the pads come on, like it's go time.
We talked about this last week about, pulling for other people.
Yeah, man.
Right?
Yeah, this is Jesus stuff, bro. Jesus, I mean, the golden rule is do unto others as you would want them to do unto you.
Yep.
And then Jesus raises it. Like the Jesus rule is, I'm even going to love people that do harm unto me. That's the next level. Like we, by our very nature, we're sinners against God, and yet God would love us and send his son, Jesus Christ, to die on the cross for us. So, Mike, again, man, some of the stuff you're talking about, that's Jesus stuff. Like the way you're treating your teammates is the way Jesus said that we ought to treat one another. So if you ask somebody for advice, if you ask a veteran, hey, what do I do in this coverage? You would not want them to lie to you. You would want them to give you the best advice they have. So that's what you do for them. That's exactly what you're doing.
Yeah, that's good stuff. And I'm always interested from the defensive side. I don't think I've ever asked a defensive player this, but I'm going to here. They say that playing an NFL game is like getting into the equivalent of 10 car accidents.
Oof, especially safety.
Right.
Speed, baby.
Yeah. I mean, you're not, the big guys are kind of hitting each other from a short distance. Yeah, when you're coming down filling the gap, bro, like it's a head-on collision. What kind of mental space do you have to get yourself in every day at practice, or maybe, nowadays more in the games, in order to be able to execute at that level and just understand that you're about to put your body through an extreme amount of pain and collisions?
Yeah, definitely. You definitely got to get your mind right, but like especially playing DB, like you said, like the linemen, they hit each other like every play from the first play. They're just banging. We might only truly hit somebody like 15 times, like truly hit somebody like 10 to 15 times a game. And usually for me, like after the first hit, I'm like, okay, now I'm woke. Because you never know how that first one's gonna feel. Like once I get hit that first time, I'm like, okay, now I'm ready to play football. But you gotta kind of already be in the mindset of like, okay, I gotta hit somebody, because it's different when you 10 yards back, 15 yards back, and that A gap opens up, and it's just you and a 6'1", 220-pound back running full speed. Like your mind got to be in the right place. If not, it's going to be a touchdown. So
how do you do that? How do you do that? Do you have a pregame, like how do you get yourself into that mindset each time?
I think my body just, I've been doing it. I've been playing football for so long. It's like, I know when the game time comes, like, okay, like this is what you have to do. But now it's to the point to where, man, if you don't get that guy on the ground, you're gonna be at home. So
Yeah. Is there a dude that when you came into the NFL, you hit him and you went, oh, wait, this is different?
I don't think I had one off the top. I don't know. Maybe one of my first tackles. I don't remember exactly who the guy was, but I had just got subbed into a preseason game. I think we were playing the 49ers when I was in Minnesota. And the tight end, like, he ran like a drag route and he caught the ball and he started to turn upfield. And when I hit him, like, I got him down, but I'm like, he was a little heavier than what I felt before. I think but it wasn't a crazy tackle, but you definitely can feel the difference. Like, I'm like, okay, that's an NFL tight end.
I think about it all the time when I'm looking at Anthony Richardson.
Oh my gosh.
That dude's 255 and runs 4.4. And if he decides to run at you, like, you don't have a choice.
You gotta do something.
Yeah. And I mean, you can't always just go low. I mean, is the car collision comparison, is that a good comparison for an NFL game?
I would say more or less for maybe the guys in the trenches.
Yeah.
But I don't think you definitely hit, but especially at safety, like, you're not hitting every play. So I would say for linebackers and running backs and offensive linemen, defensive linemen, I think that comparison is way better for them.
Joey, you brought up Donovan Darius, and I'll never forget this. I was at a Jacksonville-Pittsburgh game, and I was standing like field, and this was way back in the day. And Jerome Bettis and Donovan Darius met right at the first down marker, and I hurt when I heard that hit. It was violence in the most beautiful form I've ever seen in my life, man. It was got a whole new respect for what you guys put your bodies through just seeing that one collision that day.
Donovan still talks about that hit. Like,
does he?
He had geared up for it all week long. And he talks about they had like prepped for it, you know, kind of the C parts. He sees that he's running the alley and just, he's like, it's all or nothing, baby. And so he brought it all.
Who's that? And if it's you, say it's you, but who's that safety that in the NFL right now you look at and you're like, that guy's headhunting. That guy's looking for contact.
I would say Derwin James.
Oh, yeah.
Or even one of my teammates, Xavier Woods. I went back and watched some of his film. Some of the hits he had in Carolina was crazy, like flags everywhere.
And it's always like I wasn't very good. Like, I played, but I wasn't very good. But it always amazes me. It's kind of like when you go to golf tournaments and you see this little dude hit a ball 310.
Yeah.
Right. There's these DBs floating around. And Mike's not one of these, but there's these DBs floating around at 190 and they're hitting 230. They're hitting a 230-pound back. And it's like, how do they bring that much power and explosion into this? Would you say that is tackling a combination of just mechanics, technique, power, all the above? And if you don't have all of it, can you survive at the highest level?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with tackling is want to. Like, the size and everything can help you, but I think you have to want to tackle. Like, I don't think size and speed and all that can make you a good tackler. I think if you don't want to tackle, you're not going to tackle. But I think if you want to tackle, then you're going to get him on the ground. I think.
Have you always been that dude? Even young, have you always been that guy that wanted and liked that part of the game?
Yeah, you have to. There's no way you can play defense, I don't think, if you don't want to. At least I have to say that corner, you can probably get away with it, but you're not playing safety if you don't want to tackle.
You asked this, Joby. You asked this last podcast we did. Can that be taught? Can that be learned?
Yeah, I think there's certain ways of tackling that. I don't think the want to can be learned. It's either you want to do it or you don't. But there's that. Like, I'm still learning different ways of tackling and what angles and, you know. But I think you can always find ways to get better at what you're doing. But I don't think the want to can be learned. It's either you want to do it or you don't.
So that the kids in high school that are just a little bit gun shy, it's just kind of what it is.
No, they might have not got it yet. I mean, you could be. That's a good question, actually, to be honest with you. But I think they're still young enough to where, like, tackling is not that much of a priority in high school. I don't think. I feel like if you're athletic and fast and strong, you're going to stick out, to be honest with you. in high school at least, because it's just who's the better athlete.
Right.
I just remember coaching my son. He was kind of a timid middle schooler, and he was a feared high schooler.
Yeah.
Like when he got to he started at safety his sophomore year. We had you'll like this, Mike. He's a sophomore. He's little. He's like 125 pounds as a sophomore. And we have a big, strong senior stud. He looked like the poster, like ripped with abs. And the senior was just afraid to get dirty, bro. Yeah. He would tiptoe up to the pile. He would, you know what I mean?
Yeah, to Mike's point, yeah.
It's exactly that. And our linebacker coach looks at my son, who's way undersized as a sophomore. He's like, you want to hit somebody? He's like, yes, sir. He's like, get in there. He picked the next one off, never came out for the next 3 years. And he was just hungry. Wasn't the biggest. He was pretty fast, but he was smart, and he hit he brought all whatever, when he graduated, he's like 150 pounds. He brought all the 150 he had.
Yeah.
So even if you weighed 200, if you only bring in 100 of it, that ain't it.
No. And Mike makes a great point on this too, because as I'm thinking through this, man, like this game they're playing, man, like you don't have time to think about that.
It's 4D chess with your life on the line. That's what it is.
Right. That's actually a great way to put it.
Totally.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. What would be the thing that what would be the piece of advice that you would give to a young kid who's like, I want to do this. I feel like I can get to the NFL. What's the thing that's gotten you through more so than just athletic ability? Is it all the things, the whys that we talked about, or does it dig even deeper than that?
I think, the whys definitely play a part. And I think picking the right friend group, especially at a young age, is huge. Like, I think the friend group that I had growing up, like we all wanted the same thing, and we all held each other accountable. Like, we'll work out 3-4 times a day. Like, oh, you're not doing nothing else. Come on, let's go run hills, or let's go run. Like, I think your friend group plays a big part of your success. And if your friends don't align to the goals that you want, I think you should get a new friend group. And I think a lot of young people are scared of telling their friends no, but I was never scared to not be friends with somebody because they weren't doing what I wanted to do. So my friend group aligned perfectly of who I wanted to be. Like, one of my best friends got drafted to the NFL. He was younger than me and got drafted before me, but like we just held each other accountable. And I think that plays a key part of where I'm at too, because my friends definitely held me accountable.
Bro, that'll preach. My football coach used to tell us all the time, show me your friends, I'll show you your future.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's it, bro. Those are words well spoken.
Well, you call it mat carriers, right?
Yeah. In Mark chapter 2, there's a paralyzed man, and he's got 4 friends that pick up the corners of the mat and tote that brother to Jesus. You need guys in your life that will love you enough to, when you find yourself on the mat, they'll pick you up and take you to Jesus. Again, man, it's way easier to get dragged down than to lift other people up, And so we were not meant to do this thing alone. Isolation is a key tactic of the enemy to take people out. And so, Mike, that's I hope there's some like high school and college kids listening to that.
Yeah.
Like, just look around who you're hanging out with. That's your future.
Yeah.
So if you're hanging out with idiots, you're going to be an idiot, man.
Man, forget high school and college kids.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, there's some 35 and 40-year-olds that probably need to hear that as well.
No doubt.
Yeah, you're wondering why things aren't good. Like, look around you.
I'm telling you, if you hang out with me and my crew, you're going to be a better dad. You're going to be a better husband. You're going to be a better follower of Jesus.
Yeah.
And if not, then you probably ain't going to hang out with us, because that's priority to us.
Yeah. Well, Mike, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you taking time out of your day, man. I know it's a short time off that you guys have. When do y'all report for camp? What do you got? A couple weeks here?
Man, it feels like it. July 22nd. So I think that's about 3.5 weeks. July, 3.5 weeks left.
Coming quick.
Man, this season's crazy too, because you add that 17th game.
Yeah.
Which they did a couple years ago, and then you make a playoff run. You may play 21 games. That's a lot of ball, man. That's a long, long time. So nothing but the best of luck to you, man. I cannot thank you enough for coming on, and hopefully you'll follow along with us, and we'd love to have you again down the road.
I appreciate you guys for having me. I had fun talking with y'all today.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. And thank you, everybody, for listening to us. Built for More, at Built for More Pod. I'm Denny Thompson. That's Pastor Joby Martin. Please share with your friends. We appreciate all of you. Have a good day.